My deep dive, a little different. And I'm more leaning on you guys for this one.
I've been here.
Because I have. What's up with what is the vibe like
about this?
And do you guys have any good stories about end of season locker rooms when it's just like season's over? You got 3 or 4 games left.
When the sky starts falling?
You're officially eliminated.
So off-season plans look like, bro.
Dude. That's if we're even talking at that point in the season.
You might be mad at everybody.
You know, that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
You go into every season with high hopes.
Correct.
I mean, obviously there's a handful of teams that know that they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. But then everybody else is like, we have a chance to get to the dance. And every coach I've ever had said, if you get to the dance, you have a chance.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody can beat anybody. Well, there's been a number of teams I've been on where that's just not the case. And immediately you start to look around and you start to gauge effort, interest, and commitment of the guys in the locker room. Not only the players, but you can see it in the coaches' faces, the assistant coaches, the quality control coaches are the first ones to go. The guys who have to print the note cards for the blitzes,
for scout team,
the guys who draw up the blocking. Sometimes there's shit.
All right, here's the card.
Week 15, if we're already eliminated, you start seeing some really shitty cards.
Energy's not there.
And then the head coach gets pissed at the quality control, and then he blames a player, and then it's a bad
trickle-down effect.
Also, take a look at the injury reports.
That's a telltale.
Take a look at the injury reports for some of these teams that are out of contention.
Oh my God.
They are lengthy.
They
are cloudy at best in terms of what's going on with the guy.
Low back.
There's a lot of hamstrings. There's a lot of general soreness on there. Guys are making business decisions at this point in the season. Now, the elite guys, and I've been around a number of them, they find a way to trap themselves in that football hallway, keep their blinders on, and they just play their nuts off. And those are the best guys. And there's not many of them.
Correct.
But the ones that you have, you want to hold on to those guys. And if you're a young player, direct your gaze towards them because they will take you to the promised land. And my issue as a young player was I was more often than not probably checked out at the end of the season and dealing with a lot of injuries, real ones. But it's tough. It's tough to maintain that level of commitment, and you see things start to slip. You show up to the building a little bit later. You're closer to the start of team meeting. Maybe that lift that you did on Wednesdays with the guy from the D line. Sometimes the D lineman and the O lineman, they like to lift together.
We all have a certain time we go into the weight room.
You start to get a dwindling number of people that show up for that.
That's tough.
And then
Friday lift.
The pump starts to go away. Start to see chicken arms.
Like, where's everybody at?
It's not good, Mike. It's really not good. And then obviously you start thinking about who's going to be our next guy, or are you even going to be here, or you're really expensive. I wonder if you're out of here. That's the way that these conversations
start counting the cap numbers.
Yeah. Get out of my pockets, bro.
It's so interesting, right? Because I was undrafted free agent. I was blessed to play 10 years. So, like, anytime I had opportunity to play, I laid it on the line. Now, from a mentality standpoint, where there are times where I knew we were out and it was like 5 weeks to go, I might send my car like a week or two early.
Yep.
From that standpoint, yeah. But anytime we were on the field, I was locked in. I was locked in on the practice field. I was locked in the game time. But to your point, there is times like when guys, know they're out of the playoff contention the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's like, if we ran it and I have a sore hamstring, I might push through it, but not right now. Yeah. And then you also get players that are actually kind of nervous, right? Because if your head coach does get fired and say he came from a place where you were at before, he brought you in, now you start looking around and like, am I going to be here next year? Am I going to like the new system that we're bringing in here too? Does it fit my skill set? What are their plans for me in the future, especially if you still got a year or two left on your deal? And then 2, like you said, my cap number. Do they think I'm dead weight? Do they get rid of me? So all those go through your head. So it's just like, I would warn everybody, like, again, there are certain tiers in the NFL. Certain guys aren't going to get cut no matter what, right? But if you're in that middle tier where you could potentially be a cap cut, better lay it on the line.
Go either way.
Yeah, you can go either way. You better lay it on the line these last couple of weeks because best believe if it's a new head coach, new GM, they're going to watch that film and see what you did at the end of the season. Did you quit on your brothers and your teammates, or did you go and lay it on the line even though you knew you weren't going to the playoffs?
Yeah, I wanted to ask questions. It's such an interesting just part of the season when it's such a physical game. Like you can make a play at this point in time that could end your next season, right?
Correct. And that's another thing we didn't even talk about.
Could easily get rolled up on in week 17.
And then that goes through next August, next September, and it's like
nightmare.
And that's so say you've had a big year, right? But you're out of playoff contention. It's week 17, 18, and ankle's a little sore. I've seen guys, I'm about to get paid.
Yep.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut it down. And again, I don't fault anybody for what they're doing. It's technically, like you said, it's a business decision, right? Because like you said, Mike, any play, and I always tell people this, if you're out on that field, you better be going full speed. Because when you don't, that's usually when you get hurt. Or when you're thinking about getting hurt, that's usually when you get hurt.
We were like week 11 playing against the Jets. It was 2019. It was the year after the double doink. And we were playing the Jets. And I think it was 2019. And I was out there, might have been 2018. Yeah, it was 2018 because I got to 350 pounds after this. We were in 4 minute against
350, bro?
353 without pads.
Oh, my goodness. Eating good, huh?
Yeah, eating good in the neighborhood. and not walking around the block
at all.
We were playing the Jets. It was 4 minute mode. Yeah. And
you guys were
Bobby Massey was our right tackle, and we were like, our double teams were awesome. Like, I knew that we could get a single every time we hit our backside B. Right. And we're, again, and we ran that thing down. Boom, 6 minutes off it was like that Philly drive, 8 minutes off the clock.
18 play drive.
It wasn't 18. It was probably like 13 or something like that. And we got to like the 30-yard line on the other side, and we made one more run. And I mean, me and Bobby rolled the 3 technique out, dumped him on the ground. And right when I went to get up, somebody else stopped. I'm not going to name any names. One of our tight ends stopped blocking, and the defensive end was pissed, and he gave him that extra push. He landed right on my leg, broke my foot, twisted it around, got rolled up on, and I missed 8 games because of that. And to your point, when you're out there and you're going half speed and you're not committed to being involved,
risk, man.
You put yourself and others at risk, and you never know the risk that runs you. And I'll tell you, I mean, shit like that happens far too often in the NFL. And if you go harder, less will happen, honestly.
I think I've never actually been hurt going full. Actually, that's a lie. I got chop blocked by Chris Knee, and that's when I hurt my ankle. And this is when it was illegal on the backside. And it's crazy. I had been doing a lot of film studies, so I knew when they checked the play what their snap count was. So I jumped the crap out of the snap count. And this wily vet,
and you were
Chris
high
Knee,
on him?
Oh God! So I was on the nose. I was one technique on the center. I think it was Sean O'Hara was the center. And I knew what the snap count was. So I took off, and boy, next thing I knew, feet were up in the air. Stu cut me. And that was the only time I got hurt going full speed. Anytime else I got banged up, to your point, I was going full speed. Somebody wasn't, and somebody got finished around me.
and then the effect of that down the road is now I'm the guy who's blocking after I recover physically.
Oh, all the way through.
And I'm like, well,
but then you're nervous, right?
You start looking behind you. The minute you start looking behind you, man.
Yeah, that's when you get hurt again.
You got to lock back into that commitment of the only way I'm going to get out of harm's way is to dominate my block. And Harry Hiestand always, because when Harry Hiestand became the O-line coach, probably a GOAT. One of the GOATs, definitely a Mount Rushmore offensive line coach in college and the NFL. He was knuckles up when you're blocking. I remember the first day he came on the job, he goes, come with me to this doorway. He goes, Kyle, I noticed that you grab guys like this a lot. You try to wrench them. He goes, if I slam this door in your face, and then he slammed the door at me, and I went, and I stopped the door, and he goes, look at your knuckles. They're up. He's like, that's how we're going to block this year. And he's like, if you're pushing a shopping cart, do you hold it like this, or do you push it like, if I told you to push it as fast as you could, you put your hands like this. If a truck is rolling backwards at you at 0.5 miles an hour, how are you going to stop it? Like this or like this? So, you know what I'm saying? He's a great coach in that regard. Make things simple and make it applicable. But he always said, I know you've dealt with a lot of injuries, getting rolled up on and stuff like that. And I understand the natural inclination to look behind you when you're blocking. But I can tell you the only way you can get out of harm's way is to kick that guy's ass and get him out of your own zip code. And I love Harry for that. And I wish I listened more when he was because sure enough, it happened again.